right, let's talk Final Four March Madness. This host said 2 weeks ago when this thing started, most balanced Final Four we've ever seen. I didn't see much of a difference between number 1, Duke, all the way down to 7 or 8, St. John's. Well, we've now gotten to the Final Four. First time since 2008, the top number 1 seed in each region is still there. It's only the second time in NCAA history it's ever started. I like Duke, but Duke, please note, is more than just Cooper Flagg. That is a really good basketball team. Blue Devils got firepower. Blue Devils got strength. Blue Devils got jumpers. Blue Devils play defense. And what were they, 25 of 27 on free throws in Duke's win over Alabama? And they choked off Mark Sears. Remember, Mark Sears in the game before had 34 points. He was 2 for 12 shooting against Duke. Duke took them apart. That is a complete basketball team that John Shire has. Florida Gators, that's Walter Clayton, and they got firepower. But that's a bunch of leapers, and they got athletes, and that's a really good team. And obviously, they went 25 for 27 shooting free throws in their win over the weekend. So Florida, real force. University of Houston, they play defense. Just call people in Knoxville about what happened. Tennessee, with all of its guns, its firepower, had 15 points in the first half. That was Tennessee coming off the upset win over Kentucky. Tennessee got choked to death by the Houston Cougars. And then there's Auburn with Johnny Bloom. He had 17 points. I think he had 14 rebounds along the way. They just wore down Michigan State, and they got better athletes than anybody's given them credit for. So I think the Final Four, to me, is just going to be spectacular. It is interesting, though. Arizona's gone. There is no Kentucky. St. John's got eliminated when they shot 28% from the floor. It is really interesting how many other guys kind of fell by the wayside. But the number 1 seeds in each region are the ones going to play this weekend. And I'm a Duke Blue Devil. I just believe in their system, and I believe in the horizon of athletes that they throw at you from every different angle. And I tell you, Cooper Flagg, what a hell of a guard he is. What a leader he is. I'm so impressed with them. And John Riley, who has a history of shooting air balls, I'm sure he's got some opinions here.
Well, I mean, Cooper Flagg, he's a freshman, isn't he?
Yes.
Yeah, which is unbelievable.
19 years of age.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, that guy's going to be one of the top draft picks. But you look at these 4 logos, and obviously Duke has won it before. Florida, I know, has won it. But has Houston won it, or is that you have to go back to Phi Slamma Jamma?
Probably, yes.
When they won it. And then, I don't know, has Auburn ever won it?
No. And they were really close. Houston was really close a couple of years ago, last year, and they lost one of their guards to injury at the end, and he wound up going to the NBA. But Houston right now, damn good. And they play such wicked defense. They just slow you down. So, I mean, just think about it. Duke plays Houston on Saturday. All things Duke offense against all things Houston defense. How cool a matchup is that going to be?
Yeah, that's going to be unbelievable. And we talked about Kelvin Sampson and all the things he's doing down there. It's as an Aztec fan, you kind of want Houston to win because the Aztecs beat them earlier in the year. That's kind of cool. But I'm rooting for Auburn because of Chad Baker-Mazara, because he played here in San Diego for a year. He's kind of a character, and I enjoy following those guys. And then you get a little bit of the Charles Barkley talk in there as well.
Southern Fried Final Four. Look where they're all from.
Well, hell, yeah.
Exactly.
But they're not all, SEC.
They're not all blue bloods,
mm-hmm.
But it's everybody in the Deep South has now got bank. And everybody in the Deep South is getting players from everybody else's programs, and that's why it's a Southern Fried Final Four. And I hate to throw cold water on us because the tournament's been cool. And obviously this weekend's going to be cool. I don't think we're ever going to see March Madness as you and I fell in love with, because I think there's no way to keep your players anymore. I don't care where the hell you are. You're at San Diego State, or you're at William and Mary, you're at Washington State, or you're at Jacksonville State. There's no way to keep your players because the big boys are coming to get them, and they're going to write an NIL check, and they're going to take them all. John, I said this last week, I don't think we'll ever see an Aztec, a St. Peter's, a George Mason, a Western Kentucky. I don't think we'll ever see them in the Final Four ever again unless the rules change because of the finances.
Yeah, but it's this. We have the same argument in all the sports about teams that have more money or more dominant, and it always doesn't always work out that way. Now this year, it confirms your hypothesis because all the number ones made it. But let's see how this plays out.
I know I'm right, and I am right.
Okay,
This has changed. Hey, you got an opinion on the Final Four? How cool is this going to be? I can't wait to see that offense the Devils have versus that defense the Cougars have, and then the battle of the big men on the other side of the bracket.